In the beginning of the story, we see a father who was staring in astonishment at the woman near the wall. No one could have guessed that such a powerful demon was hiding inside her. He immediately ran toward her, calling her name, but within moments the woman collapsed unconscious into the priest's arms. This was the sixth time the ritual had been performed on her. But like every time before, there was no significant change. The woman's name was Emma. A few days earlier, the church's main bishop, Edwards, had informed Father Joseph that a patient was being brought to the church, where an exorcism would be performed. This patient was Emma, whose condition had severely deteriorated. Outsiders thought she was mentally ill, but after months of observation, even the doctors couldn't diagnose any mental illness. The suspicion now was that Emma was under the influence of a demonic entity. Hearing this made Father Joseph a bit uneasy, especially since his faith had been shaken after his brother's sudden death. However, Father Theophilus clarified that another priest would be performing the exorcism. Joseph was only required to assist. Reluctantly, Joseph accepted the responsibility. Within a few days, one night, Emma was brought to the church. The main priest's name was Father Theophilus. Father Joseph welcomed him warmly at the stage, and together they joined a meeting with the church's chief Mother Superior. Theophilus proposed that the three of them form a team to handle Emma's restraint, her transfers, and documentation of her condition. Father Joseph's role was to observe and document all of Emma's symptoms and behavior. The exorcism process was to be performed every day at sunset. But in the midst of this planning, a nun came rushing into the room and informed them that Emma had become extremely aggressive. She wasn't even eating. Joseph immediately rushed to Emma's room. The scene there was very chaotic. Letters Emma had written to her mother were scattered on the ground. Emma appeared normal at that time. The two talked briefly, and then Joseph left and went to Father Theophilus. Joseph wanted Emma to first undergo a psychiatric examination, but the father firmly refused. He believed that only an exorcism would be effective in this situation. So Joseph didn't argue much. Soon, Father initiated the first exorcism. Before beginning, he gave strict instructions to all the nuns that under no circumstances should they disobey his orders. He warned them that the process would be long and difficult. The demon would try to turn them against each other, so everyone needed to maintain mutual trust. Any mistake could result in the failure of the entire ritual. Then the ritual began. All the nuns started chanting. Joseph sat in a corner, recording Emma's actions. As the chanting intensified, Emma began to appear restless. Taking advantage of the moment, Father sprinkled holy water on her. At that moment, Emma fainted. Seeing this, Father declared that that day's ritual was over. The next day, the ritual began again. As the chants started, Emma began reacting. She suddenly stood up and pulled a nun's hair. That day's ritual remained incomplete amid horrifying laughter. Now the third day began, and preparations for the next ritual were made. This time, to prevent Emma from hurting anyone, Father Theophilus tied her up with ropes and began the chanting. Emma reacted immediately. Her body began shaking violently and foam came out of her mouth. Her eyes turned white, and then she suddenly went still. The priest quickly rushed to her and began asking the spirit's name, because it's believed that knowing the name of the spirit is half the battle won. But when has any demonic power ever made it that easy? Just then, a terrifying roar echoed. The nuns covered their ears. They had never heard such a horrifying sound before. Everyone was stunned. It was time for the fourth day of the ritual. This time, one of the nuns quietly brought a rosary with her out of fear. She wasn't confident she would make it out safely. The ritual began, and the chanting resumed. Emma's eyes began to turn black. The priest told the nun that the rosary was kept outside in the church courtyard. Then he turned to Emma and asked, "Now tell me, who is speaking through you?" But the demonic spirit didn't respond directly. Instead, it asked Father Joseph, "How is your brother now?" "How is your brother now?" It seemed like it was trying to break Joseph's spirit. The priest took a firm stance and placed the cross on Emma's forehead. Suddenly, Emma vomited a thick, black, sticky liquid. On the fifth day, when the priest removed Emma's blanket to begin the ritual, he saw red welts all over her body. Joseph panicked and asked, "What is happening?" The priest replied gravely, The situation is getting out of control. This demonic power now wants to take full possession of her. Joseph believed that Emma now needed a doctor, not a ritual. But the priest clearly stated, "That's exactly what the spirit wants, to confuse us. If we stop now, not only Emma, but all of us could be in danger." Still, Joseph tried to reason with him. But the priest spoke firmly, "If you don't want to participate anymore, you're free to step back. That's exactly what the spirit wants, for our unity to break." Joseph stayed silent. The ritual resumed once again. The father continued chanting the mantras without pause. After a while, Emma slowly began to rise and started speaking in unclear words. As soon as the father asked the spirit its name, the lights in the entire room suddenly went out. It was clear that this was the work of an evil force. The father immediately asked everyone to remain calm and prepared himself to confront the darkness. Just then, when a nun approached Emma to help her, her hand got severely injured. The injuries to two nuns shook Joseph. He began to believe that all of this was pointless and that Emma actually needed a doctor, not a ritual. A heated argument broke out between the father and Joseph over this. That's when the father revealed a deep secret to Joseph. Years ago, he performed a ritual on Emma's mother as well. At that time, he was a newly appointed father, lacking experience, and handed over Emma's mother to the doctors. A few months later, he received a letter saying that her mother was fine now, but that was a lie. The spirit had deceived him. Later, Emma's mother died, and from that moment on, the evil spirit set its sights on Emma. The father told Joseph, "This time, I will not give up." Hearing this, Joseph agreed and gave his consent to continue the ritual. On the sixth day, Nun Rose went to check on Emma and saw blood splattered on the walls of her room. As soon as she opened the door, she found Emma standing naked and covered in blood. The father rushed to cover her with a sheet. When Mother Superior learned of this, he became furious. He clearly stated that if Emma's condition did not improve within a week, the ritual would be stopped immediately and Emma would be sent elsewhere. Nanu's safety came first. Now the ritual was transferred to the church basement. It began for the sixth time there. But this time, Joseph intervened and tried to stop it. He informed them that he had consulted a doctor about Emma, and the doctor believed that she only needed rest now. However, the father remained stubborn and continued chanting the rituals. During this, the spirit began to speak. It said that something was going on between Joseph and Rose. Hearing this, Rose ran away in shame, and Joseph was filled with anger. He was ready to confront the demon, but the father stepped in and calmed him down. Joseph quietly walked away, and the father continued the ritual on Emma alone. After some time, Emma calmed down, and the same scene appeared that was seen in the beginning. That night, strange events began in the church. As soon as the father went to sleep, he saw the face of the demon before him, and on the other side, Sister Rose seemed to fall into a trance. She went straight and stood in front of the mirror. Joseph suddenly felt as if strange and terrifying voices were coming from inside the mirror. He realized that it was the trick of a spirit trying to scare everyone and sabotage the ritual. The seventh day had begun. Joseph ran to the father and said, "I feel like some evil force is holding me. I can't think properly or even sleep." The father calmed him down and shared the struggles of his own life, saying every hardship is a test. When it feels like everything is falling apart, that's when the Almighty is making us stronger. That is the true meaning of our existence, to become a better human being through pain. The father's words reignited Joseph's inner faith. Now his belief was stronger than ever. After that, the father began the ritual on Emma for the seventh time. This time, the spirit played a new trick. It started pretending to be helpless and merciful. But the father warned the nuns not to fall for it. "It's all a deception," he said. When manipulation didn't work, the spirit attacked directly. It grabbed the father's robes, and a fierce struggle broke out between the two. But still, the father did not give up. After a while, he asked everyone to rest for some time because his body was exhausted. But then, something shocking happened. Emma freed herself from the ropes and ran toward the graveyard behind the church. Everyone rushed out to look for her, and soon Joseph found Emma unconscious in a corner. Father also quickly reached the spot. Just as everyone was trying to bring her back to consciousness, the father began chanting prayers rapidly. But by then it was too late. A demonic force was trying to completely take over Emma's body and was pushing her towards suicide. The father intervened immediately. But in the middle of all this, his Bible fell to the ground. The father was about to collapse from exhaustion. Seeing this, Joseph quickly picked up the Bible, removed the holy locket from his chest, and began chanting the prayers with full faith. So friends, this was the full story of the 2025 American horror film, The Ritual. The film is actually inspired by the 1920s Emma Schmidt case, considered the most documented exorcism case in America. Though the film has been presented in a very calm and straightforward manner, you could even say it feels like a documentary. Most of the time, the movie focuses on rituals and prayer recitations, which may not appeal to every viewer. However, if you enjoy psychological horror based on real events, then it's definitely worth watching once. With this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts. Also, subscribe to this channel for more horror stories.